The courtroom is quiet, almost unnaturally so. Sunlight filters in through high windows and forms long shadows across polished wooden benches and down to the cold, shiny floor. The scent of old wood and some musk perfume remains in the air, though it's fully overridden by this tension that seems to vibrate through every inch of the room. Kody sits stiff at the front, his hand tightly gripping the edge of the bench, as if that is what keeps him stable. His eyes dart from wife to wife, revealing a silent storm brewing beneath his composed exterior. Christine sits a few feet away, her posture tight, shoulders squared, jaw clenched. Every few seconds, she glances at Robin, her gaze sharp, almost accusing, but tempered with a flicker of fear. Robin, ever cautious, folds her hands tightly in her lap, her lips pressed into a thin line, eyes focused on some distant point in the courtroom. Anywhere but directly on Christine. Janelle twirls a bracelet around her wrist, her nervous energy palpable. Even Mary, who normally maintains a serene, almost untouchable composure, seems out of place, her fingers fidgeting as she glances at the judge and back to Kody, eyes betraying the anxiety she tries to hide behind a calm expression. The gallery is full, and whispers move across the crowd in tiny currents. Friends, family members, and a few strangers who have come for curiosity lean forward, straining to hear every word. Cameras click softly from the back row, recording each subtle movement, every flicker of emotion across the family's faces. Then, with the sharp authority of the bailiff, the murmurs fade. "All rise, court is now in session," he announces, his voice echoing across the room. The wives stand stiffly, Kody rises, and the judge enters, his robe swaying slightly, his expression unreadable. Kody takes a deep breath, trying to calm the racing thoughts in his head. Today isn't just another routine court appearance. This is the one day that could change the foundation of what he has built, a day when truths that were buried just might come to the surface. He looks over at Christine, her eyes meeting his briefly, and in that look there is a silent exchange, accusation, fear, and the faintest hint of regret. Robin shifts slightly, her gaze flicking toward the door, as if expecting someone to burst in with some new bombshell revelation. Janelle's fingers tighten on her bracelet, the only outward sign of the storm she feels inside. And Mary finally exhales quietly, almost imperceptibly, readying herself for what she knows will come. The first attorney rises. Her heels click sharply against the wooden floor, each step echoing in the tense room. She places her hands firmly on the bench and addresses the judge, her tone calm, yet imbued with quiet intensity. "Your Honor, today we confront a situation that has tested the limits of trust and loyalty within this family. Evidence will demonstrate decisions made in secrecy, actions that have consequences far beyond what anyone could have anticipated. And while the proceedings may seem formal, the heart of this matter is deeply personal. It is about betrayal, loyalty, and the delicate balance that has kept this family together." Kody's chest tightens as his stomach twists while he listens. Christine shifts a little in her chair, looking over at Robin, whose expression is unreadable but strained. Janelle lets out a soft breath, and the fingers of Mary's one hand continued their restive dance. The tension grows thick as the judge nods for the attorney to continue. The first witness is called, a lifelong family friend, someone who has seen the private dynamics for years. She steps forward slowly, her hands trembling just a shade, her voice catching as she speaks. "I never thought I'd be here, testifying against people I've considered family for so long," she admits barely above a whisper. "But the truth cannot be ignored any longer." The courtroom falls silent, all eyes upon her, Cody's jaw clenches. Christine sits up straight, defiance etched on her face, but her eyes flicker with unease. Robin's hand tightens over her clasped hands. Janelle shifts in her seat. Even Mary, ever the quiet observer, leans forward, narrowing her eyes as she listens. She begins to recount incidents, small, seemingly insignificant events at first. Arguments overheard, whispered phone calls, subtle manipulations. But slowly, the weight of the revelations grows heavier. There were moments, she goes on, her voice trembling but firm, when decisions were made behind closed doors, decisions that affected every member of this family in ways they may not yet understand. And some of those choices, some of them, I fear, were not made with everyone's best interest in mind. The tension in the room is palpable. Christine's eyes flash with anger. Robin swallows hard, her lips pressed tightly together. Janelle leans back slightly, unable to mask her discomfort, and Mary closes her eyes briefly, bracing herself. Cody's heart is racing. He'd always assumed he understood the delicate web of his family. But the words being spoken now cast shadows he hadn't anticipated. Suddenly, the witness drops the bombshell. Her voice shakes as she delivers the detail that no one saw coming. A secret Kody believed was buried forever. The courtroom collectively exhales, whispers like tiny sparks igniting a fire between people. Christine freezes mid-breath. Robin's eyes widen, and Janelle releases a soft gasp, unnoticed by most, but sharp enough to catch Cody's attention. Even the judge leans slightly forward, eyebrows raised, absorbing the gravity of the revelation. The judge calls for a short recess. The tension that had been simmering now feels almost unbearable. The wives shuffle out of the courtroom, exchanging loaded glances and hurried whispers. Kody steps outside, drawing a long breath, trying to steady himself. He can feel the storm brewing, growing heavier with each passing moment. This isn't about evidence. It's about trust, betrayal, and that fragile foundation his family life is resting on. The air of anticipation hangs thick in the hall. Lawyers speak among themselves softly. Court employees hurry about with cautious haste, and the wives retreat to corners, their minds replaying morning revelations. Each reflects differently. The always fiery Christine fights the urge to strike out. Robin feels guilt and fear of consequences. Janelle silently calculates, trying to predict what will come. Mary prays silently, looking for clarity in chaos. Flashbacks begin to flicker in Cody's mind. The late-night arguments at home, the hushed phone conversations, and the fleeting moments of tension that at the time seemed trivial, but now held the weight of deeper secrets. He remembers Christine's sharp words, Robin's quiet manipulations, Janelle's subtle interjections, and Mary's silent observations. Each memory is a thread, weaving together a tapestry of betrayal and tension he had not fully acknowledged until now. The judge signals the court to order, and the room slowly sits down. The witness is called again, this time with documents in hand, photos, letters, and emails that corroborate the bombshell she dropped a moment ago. The courtroom erupts in gasps. Christine stiffens. Robin leans forward. Janelle utters a soft, "Oh no," and Mary closes her eyes momentarily, bracing herself. Kody feels the prickling of cold sweat on his temples. He realizes the game just changed. Everything is laid out. Personal conversations aired. Decisions made without others. Manipulations over the course of years. Shock, denial, and rising anger fill the room. Kody attempts to stay composed, though a storm brews inside. Christine's glare pierces him. Robin's flickers with the depth of her hurt and frustration, while Janelle's face is a mask. Mary's silent tears glimmer in the light of the courtroom. As the witness steps down, the tension is at an all-time high. The court readies itself for the continuation of the hearing, but it is in a state of suspense. Every movement, every whisper, every look seems magnified. Kody knows that the calm of morning was only the beginning. The real storm is yet to come. The courtroom doors swing open once more, and the tension inside is almost tangible, pressing against every shoulder, every nervous glance. Thick, heavy air with anticipation, faint scents of polished wood, and lingering perfume mix with anxieties that seem to hang like fog over the room. Kody sits forward, hands gripping the edge of the bench. His jaw is tight. He can feel the storm brewing, and he knows this is the moment where everything could shift, where loyalties, trust, and love collide in unexpected ways. Christine leans forward, her eyes narrowed, her lips pressed into a thin line. Robin sits beside her, posture taut, her fingers intertwined tightly in her lap, her gaze flicking briefly toward Kody, as if searching for some hidden reassurance that he is still on her side. Janelle fidgets, twisting the edge of her bracelet, eyes darting nervously to the gallery. Mary, who up until now had always shown silent strength, sat almost frozen, her eyes lowered briefly as if bracing herself for the inevitable confrontation. The judge clears his throat. In a calm yet firm tone, he says, "We will proceed with the presentation of evidence." All eyes are focused on the attorneys at the front. Papers rustle. Stacks of documents change hands, and with every movement, the tension grows. Kody can feel it, an electric charge in the air, every heartbeat heightened by the silent weight of expectation. The attorney for one of the wives stands up, heels clicking sharply against the wooden floor. "Your Honor," she begins, voice even but charged with emotion. "The documents brought forth today reveal patterns that have been hidden for far too long. Decisions were made without transparency, and those decisions affect not just finances, but the emotional well-being of this family. What you are about to see is the reality of choices made in secret." Kody swallows hard. His eyes flicker to Christine, whose expression has gone from tense to defensive, her lips now pressed tightly together. Robin's fingers tighten, Janelle's eyes widen slightly, and Mary's hands fold tightly in her lap. The room seems to shrink, everyone aware that the revelations coming next could change everything. The first piece of evidence is placed on the table, a series of documents showing financial decisions made without the knowledge or consent of certain family members. The courtroom falls silent. Christine leans back in shock. Robin's mouth opens slightly, shock dancing across her face. Janelle utters something to herself, nearly inaudible, while Mary closes her eyes briefly, fortifying herself for the impact. Kody feels the ground slide away. The control he thought he had has been peeled away, bit by bit. Then comes the confrontation. Christine rises, her voice shaking but firm. "How could you do this to us? To me?" Her words cut through the thick air like a blade. Kody opens his mouth, but nothing comes out. Leaning forward, her voice shaking, Robin cuts in. "I didn't have a choice. I tried to protect everyone, but your choices forced my hand." Whispers, murmurs, and stifled gasps flood the courtroom. The judge raises his hand, wanting to restore order, but the emotions in this room are raw, uncontainable. Each wife stares at Kody, her emotions spilling over. Anger, frustration, betrayal, hurt. The normally composed gallery is now on edge, the tension almost unbearable. Flashbacks flicker in Kody's mind. The late-night conversations, the whispers, the small arguments that now seem to carry far more weight. Every small lie, every unspoken truth, every secret decision suddenly feels monumental. He remembers Christine's sharp words from weeks ago, Robin's quiet insistence on compromise, Janelle's cautious interventions, and Mary's silent but knowing looks. Each memory now feels like a thread in a web, tangled and inescapable. A surprise witness is called. The courtroom collectively exhales. Anticipation hangs in the air like a storm cloud. It's a witness to the family's private moments, a witness with knowledge that no one expected to resurface here. Their presence alone brings a sense of unease, an unspoken question. What truths will be revealed now? The witness takes the stand, hesitating. I never wanted to be in this position, they say, voice quivering. But the truth can no longer be kept hidden. The things I know, they will change how you see each other, how you see this family. Christine's eyes widen. Robin leans forward. Janelle tightens her grip on her bracelet, and Mary's hands shake slightly. Kody swallows hard, dreading what's coming. The testimony begins. It's a tale of betrayal, secret decision-making. He talks about conversations taken in hushed tones, manipulations, and subtle acts of deceit, small enough at the time, but nonetheless meaningful enough to cause ripples that may shatter trust. The courtroom sits in stunned silence, every reaction magnified. Christine's eyes flash with anger. Robin fights composure. Janelle is pale, her fingers trembling, and Mary silently cries, her tears glistening in the light of the courtroom. With each revelation, Kody feels the weight bearing down on him, threatening to break the fragile balance of his family. Then comes the bombshell. The witness presents a recording, capturing conversations that reveal motives, hidden alliances, and decisions made behind closed doors. Gasps fill the room. Christine freezes mid-breath. Robin's eyes widen. Janelle whispers in disbelief, and Mary's head dips. Silent sobs, threatening to escape. Kody's hands grip the bench, tighter, knuckles white, as the realization sinks in. The secrets he thought were safe are now public, laid bare for everyone to see. The judge orders a short recess. Outside the courtroom, the air is thick with tension and hushed murmurings of speculation. The wives disappear into corners to rehash testimony and evidence. Each wife views it a little differently in her mind. Christine, fighting off rage and shame. Robin, wrestling with guilty fears. Janelle, with silent calculations of possible outcomes. And Mary, trying to make sense in a sea of emotion. Kody exits outside, closes his eyes, and takes a deep breath, preparing for the storm that is nowhere near over. The court reconvenes, the witness returns to the stand, and the room is electric with anticipation. Every movement, every glance, every word has meaning. Kody's heart races with the knowledge that the next few moments could redefine everything. The family, the relationships, and the future. As Section 2 ends, the camera focuses on Kody's face, a mix of fear, determination, and unfolding realization. Outside, hushed conversations are going on about the aftermath. Indoors, however, the storm has only just begun. The next witness, the next confession, the next revelation, all stand at the ready, preparing to strike, like a tidal wave, to engulf everyone present in the court with emotional turmoil. The courtroom feels smaller now, the air denser, charged with a nearly unbearable tension. All eyes are on Kody as he sits, shoulders stiff, hands clasping the bench so tightly his knuckles whiten. It's already been a shock to the family in the previous session, but no one is ready for the storm that is about to blow in. Christine sits poised, jaw tight, breathing measured, yet fire blazes behind her eyes. Robin leans forward, her fingers intertwined, knuckles white, and her usually composed face creased with visible anxiety. Janelle shifts in her seat, trying to hold herself composed, but every slight movement reveals the turmoil within her. And Mary's hands shake slightly in her lap as her eyes sparkle with unshed tears, readying herself for the pain of one of the worst moments of her life. The judge clears his throat, his voice even and commanding. It draws back everyone's attention. "We shall now proceed to the next witness," he states, and there is a hush in the room. The witness is unexpected, a former friend of the family, one who had been privy to intimate, behind-the-scenes moments that Kody never could have imagined might be exposed. A quiet shiver runs through the room as the doors open and the witness steps up. The mere presence of the witness causes a ripple of unease in the family. Christine stiffens, her gaze sharp. Robin bites her lip, attempting to conceal the flicker of fear dancing across her face. Janelle's fingers bite into the edge of the bench, while Mary swallows hard, her eyes fixed upon the witness, with a mixture of dread and anticipation. Kody exhales a slow breath, attempting to steady himself, but his stomach churns at the thought that the next words to be spoken might shatter the fragile balance he had worked so long to achieve. "I never wanted to be here," the witness begins, voice low but steady. "But the truth can no longer remain hidden. The things I know, the things I've seen, will change everything you think you know about this family." The courtroom falls silent. Every word may as well be a hammer crashing into the polished wooden benches, echoing into the very being of everyone in attendance. Christine's eyes grow wide. Robin leans forward as if instinctively to try to predict the revelation, while Janelle merely whispers a hushed, "No, this can't be happening." Mary closes her eyes momentarily, fortifying herself, knowing full well that once the testimony is done, nothing can ever be the same again. Kody's heart pounds in his chest. He can feel every word slice through the fragile peace of his household, threatening to unveil every secret, every misstep, every unspoken truth. The witness starts telling stories of private betrayals and manipulations. They talk of whispered arguments in the dead of night, conversations kept behind closed doors, financial moves that did not include some members of the family at all, and decisions made with motives no one could have seen coming. Each story increases tension, layer upon layer, revealing a web of secrets that seems almost impossible to untangle. Christine's lips press tightly together, her fingers tightening around the edge of the bench. Robin's face pales, and her breathing quickens slightly, betraying her struggle to remain composed. Janelle leans forward, gripping the bracelet around her wrist, as if it could anchor her in the storm. And Mary, head bowed, lets out a quiet breath, aware that her family's foundation is cracking beneath them. Kody sits frozen, every word striking him like a physical blow, forcing him to confront the consequences of the unseen decisions made in his name. Then comes the bombshell. The witness pulls out a recording, the sort of evidence that cannot be ignored. The room holds its breath as audio starts to play. Voices, familiar, close, and previously secretive, fill the air. Secrets, plans, and admissions that were supposed to stay well hidden are now exposed for all to hear. Christine freezes mid-breath. Robin's eyes go wide. Janelle is whispering in disbelief, while Mary shuts her eyes, silent tears threatening to fall. Kody's hands grip tighter onto the bench as he realizes the world he thought he knew crumbles before him. The audio reveals alliances, betrayals, and decisions made in secret. It exposes who truly orchestrated certain events, who manipulated outcomes, and who stood silently by while the family's trust was undermined. Every member of the family reacts differently. Christine's anger burns visibly. Robin struggles between guilt and indignation. Janelle's concern morphs into cautious calculation. And Mary's reserved composure begins to break under the weight of emotion. The witness steps back as the courtroom absorbs the evidence. There is silence for a few moments before Christine finally rises, voice trembling but defiant. "I can't stay silent anymore," she says, her eyes welling up with tears. "I've tried to protect this family, tried to do what I thought was right, but I've made mistakes, and I've hurt people I love." Her words hang in the air, raw and unfiltered, each one carrying the weight of years of tension. Robin's eyes shine as she leans forward, her voice cracking. "I did what I thought was best. I tried to shield everyone from harm, but I failed in ways I didn't anticipate." Her confession seems to spark a mix of relief and upped anxiety all at once. Finally, the family understands with crystal clarity that each of their members is now in a vulnerable, open position. Now it's Janelle's turn, her voice barely above a whisper, resolute. "We've all made choices that we thought were harmless, but they've caused damage none of us expected. We've been blind to each other's pain for too long." And finally, Mary adds her voice, almost in a whisper. "I stayed quiet, thinking silence would help. But now I see. Silence can hurt as much as lies." Kody listens, the weight of it all beginning to bear down on him. A storm that began with whispers and secret decisions has grown into a full-blown emotional hurricane. Every confession, every admission, every tear, and every tremor within the courtroom chips away at the structure he tried to hold together. The judge, sensing the intensity of the moment, leans forward. His expression is a mask of calm, but his eyes flicker with the realization that this is more than a legal proceeding. This is a family, laid bare, vulnerable and exposed in front of the world. Attorneys confer quietly, reviewing their notes in preparation for the next stage of testimony to come. The gallery sits still, transfixed by the moment of raw human emotion unfolding before them. The final twist in this session emerges. Another piece of evidence, previously undisclosed, is brought forward: photographs, messages, and handwritten notes that reveal hidden motives, secret communications, and decisions that some family members hope will never see the light of day. The room gasps collectively. Christine's hands are trembling slightly. Robin is biting her lip. Janelle swallows hard, and Mary's eyes fill with tears she can no longer hold back. Kody feels a cold sweat prickling at the back of his neck. This evidence doesn't just challenge perceptions, it redefines reality. The courtroom falls silent again, each person absorbing the implications. The relationships between wives and between Kody and each wife hang by threads. Every look, every word, even every subtle gesture speaks volumes of tension. Outside, the whispers race down the hallways, speculation growing ever louder. The family's foundation seems to be going to collapse any moment now. As Section 3 comes to a close, the camera lingers on Kody's face, eyes all wide with fear, utter incredulity, and finally, dawning realization. The witness sits down, and the room holds its collective breath. The next session promises to be even more intense as confessions will go deeper, emotions will surge, and the fallout of these revelations leaves nobody unscathed. The tension in the courtroom is thick, with even the walls seeming to hold their breath. All eyes are on Kody, who sits ramrod straight, his jaw clenched, his fingers clasping the edge of the bench until it hurts. The The cracks that have split the family's facade in the wake of the revelation so far will be as nothing compared to the storm of emotion that is about to break. Christine sits up straight, her face pale but defiant, her hands clenched in her lap. Robin bends forward slightly, her usual calmness undermined by expectation. Janelle shifts in her seat, playing with the bracelet on her wrist, while Mary, her head slightly bowed, steels herself in silence, her eyes shining unshed tears. The judge clears his throat, and the proceedings continue. Everybody in the courtroom is silent, awaiting what would follow. We will proceed with testimonies critical to understanding the full extent of what has taken place, he states in a cool tone, though commanding. A murmur of concern ripples through the courtroom as the next witness prepares to take the stand. This time, one privy to confessions and private interactions that took place behind closed doors. The witness steps forward, voice low but steady. I have been hesitant to speak, they begin, but the time for silence has passed. What I am about to share cannot be ignored, and it will affect every member of this family. Christine's eyes widen. Robin bites her lip. Janelle shifts uncomfortably, and Mary closes her eyes briefly, bracing herself for the inevitable storm. Kody swallows hard, realizing the walls of secrecy his family relied on are about to crumble completely. The witness describes moments of hidden betrayal, whispered arguments in the dead of night, financial decisions made without consultation, and the subtle manipulations to keep up appearances. With each revelation, tension rises. The room is collectively holding its breath. The wives exchange sharp, accusatory, and laced with hurt glances at each other. Kody feels as though each word was a hammer, striking the fragile balance he thought he had maintained for years. Christine breaks the silence first. Rising, her voice shakes, but with undeniable power. I can no longer hide the truth. I've made mistakes. I've acted to protect myself, and in doing so, I hurt the people I love most. Her words echo through the space, raw and unfiltered. As she prepares to try to answer, Robin's expression changes from one of worry to one of guarded vulnerability. I tried, Robin whispers, her voice cracking, to shield everyone from the consequences of choices made before me. But I see now that my actions caused more harm than good. I failed in ways I never anticipated. Her admission is met with a heavy, almost smothering silence in the room. It is Janelle who breaks the silence. We've all made decisions, thinking they were for the best. But those choices, they've caused pain none of us foresaw. Mary, silent until now, finally adds her voice, her tone barely above a whisper. I stayed silent, believing my restraint would help. But I've realized that silence can be just as damaging as dishonesty. I see now the walls we've built between us, and the cracks that threaten to destroy everything. The courtroom is finally silent. Kody's chest tightens. He listens, absorbing every word, feeling the weight of decades of unspoken truths pressing down on him all at once. The judge edges his chair a bit forward, watching the emotional breakdowns with measured attention. This is a critical moment, he says softly, where honesty and accountability are being laid bare. The choices made here today will influence not just the present, but the future of this family. His words hang in the air, heavy with implication. The atmosphere is electric as the next piece of evidence is presented. Photographs, letters, and recorded messages, previously undisclosed, that reveal hidden motives and clandestine communications. Christine gasps softly as she recognizes her handwriting in one note. Robin bites her lip to suppress a gasp. Janelle whispers an almost inaudible, "Oh no," and Mary's hands tremble as she folds them in her lap. Kody's mind races. trying to piece together the revelations and anticipate their impact. Christine's voice rises again, more controlled this time, as she points to a document on the table. This was done without my knowledge, and it changed the course of our family's decisions. I trusted, and I was betrayed. Robin glances at her sharply, defensive but weary. We all acted out of fear, Christine. Fear of losing control. Fear of what would happen if the truth came out. But yes, mistakes were made. I can't deny that. Janelle chimes in, her voice shaking but sure. And I didn't speak up when I should have. I thought I was keeping peace, but I was just letting deception grow in silence. Mary's voice cuts through, soft and piercing. And I, too, let fear guide me. I thought avoidance would protect the family, but I now see it has only deepened the wounds we all carry. The courtroom is silent, with only a faint sniffle and soft breathing of the family members. Kody relaxes back, letting out a very slow, long exhalation. The storm of emotions still rages on, yet in an instant he feels clarity. The truth is finally out, raw and unobstructed, and nothing can shroud it anymore. Then comes the most shocking revelation. Another piece of evidence is handed to the judge. Emails and messages exchanged in secrecy that reveal alliances, hidden agendas, and decisions made at the expense of trust. The family's reactions are instantaneous. Christine's hands tremble as she touches the evidence. Robin's eyes widen in disbelief. Janelle's lips part slightly, and Mary's head bows as tears spill silently. Kody feels the weight of betrayal crushing him, the foundation of his family trembling beneath his feet. The witness, after handing over the documents, looks directly at the family. The truth is here. Each of you must now face it, and the choices you make next will define what remains of this family. The words hang like a storm cloud, heavy and inescapable. Kody's mind races as he tries to process the cascade of confessions, betrayals, and evidence. Each wife sits in stunned silence, the weight of the revelations pressing down on them like a physical force. Christine finally speaks again, her voice choked with emotion. I wanted to protect us, but I failed. I betrayed your trust, Kody, and perhaps my own in the process. I see now the damage that has been done. Robin follows, her voice shaking. I thought I was helping, but I see now I contributed to the pain. I am sorry to everyone I hurt. Janelle and Mary offer their own confessions, small yet powerful acknowledgments of mistakes and missteps that have mounted over years. The judge leans back in his chair, taking in the confessions. This is an extraordinary moment, he says, voice measured but heavy with significance. The accountability displayed here today will inform every decision moving forward. But make no mistake, the path to reconciliation will be challenging. Whispers ripple out into the hallway from outside the courtroom, conjecture in a hum of lawyers and family friends alike, while inside, all eyes are on the raw, exposed emotion that fills the room. Kody sits, his chest heavy with every word, every tear, every tremor. The storm is not over, but the first gusts of truth have begun to reshape the family's landscape. As Section 4 comes to a close, the camera lingers on the wives' faces, Christine, Robin, Janelle, and Mary, each reflecting a different stage of grief, anger, fear, and hope. The courtroom is silent, yet the tension feels almost tangible, as if the very air is charged with anticipation for what comes next. The courtroom is suffocating with tension, as each sound is amplified in the silence. Kody sits at the bench, shoulders squared, but tight, his jaw clenched, his hands resting on the polished wood. The last few sessions have peeled away the veneer of calm, exposing raw emotion, confession, and secrets that had apparently been safely buried. Now, all eyes are turned to the next piece of evidence, the one that will finally determine the fate of the family. Christine leans forward, her face pale, lips pressed tight, as if setting herself against a blow. Robin's usually collected appearance falters, her fingers interlock tightly, her knuckles white. Janelle shifts, her bracelet twisting uneasily, while Mary's head bows slightly, in silent preparation for the emotional hurricane that is about to hit. The judge clears his throat, calm but commanding. We will now review the final evidence submitted in this case. Everyone should pay close attention. His words hang in the air like a storm cloud, signaling that what comes next could be decisive. The bailiff stepped forward, carrying a folder containing documents, recordings, and photographs that had previously been withheld from the court. The air grew heavier with each passing second. Kody exhales slowly, clearly trying to steady himself. He knows this isn't just evidence. It's a culmination of every hidden decision, every whispered conversation, every secret that has threatened the family's foundation for years. Christine's gaze is fixed on the folder. Robin leans forward. Janelle whispers something under her breath, and Mary swallows hard, the tension in her body almost visible. The first document is placed on the table. It's a series of emails and text messages revealing communications between family members that were previously unknown. Motives, hidden alliances, and subtle manipulations leap off the page. Christine gasps quietly. Robin's eyes widen, and Janelle mutters an incredulous, "I can't believe this." Mary's hands tremble as she folds them tightly, silently praying for clarity amid the chaos. Kody feels his chest tighten, realizing that the storm is about to reach its peak. The witness, who had already shaken the family in the previous session, now delivers the most damning testimony yet. Their voice trembles with emotion as they recount a series of secret meetings, covert financial decisions, and manipulative actions designed to control outcomes without the knowledge of certain family members. Christine flinches as she hears her name mentioned. Robin's lips press tightly together to hold back a response, and Janelle's hands tighten around her bracelet. Mary's eyes glisten as tears threaten to fall. Kody's hands grip the bench so tightly that his knuckles whiten, the realization sinking in that the game has changed irrevocably. Then comes the recording, the moment everyone had been waiting for. The audio fills the courtroom, voices sharp, intimate, and revealing. Secrets that were assumed hidden for years now echo across the room. Evidence of true motives, hidden alliances, and long-standing manipulations is exposed. Christine's jaw tightens. Robin blinks rapidly. Janelle whispers a near inaudible, "Oh no," and a small, trembling sigh escapes Mary's lips. Kody's heart pounds out a drumbeat of inevitability. Nothing would be the same after this moment. The judge leans forward slightly, observing the reactions. "This is a crucial moment," he says in a quiet tone, while firm. "The consequences of this evidence will affect not only the interpersonal relations within this family, but also the outcome of the court's decision. It is critical that everyone remains focused and honest as we proceed." Christine rises, her voice shaking but strong. I made mistakes," she says, eyes glistening. "I thought I was protecting myself, but I betrayed the people I love most. I see now the consequences of my actions, and I am truly sorry." Robin follows, voice shaking. "I tried to protect everyone from harm, but my decisions were not perfect, and I can see now the pain I caused." Janelle admits, voice low but firm. I stayed silent when I should have spoken. I thought I was keeping peace, but I only let deception grow. And Mary finishes by saying, I stayed quiet, thinking silence was best, but I see now how much it hurt everyone. The courtroom is silent, the weight of the confessions pressing down like a physical force. Kody leans back, processing the intensity of what has been revealed. He feels the storm of emotions, anger, regret, fear, and sadness that may be building up and about to overcome him. It's almost too much to bear. Attorneys huddle quietly before handing the judge a sealed envelope. The judge opens it up and reads out loud, contents therein, a series of photographs and handwritten notes showing an alliance nobody expected. Evidence will show that one critical decision, previously thought neutral, was orchestrated behind the scenes and tilted the advantage to one party against all others. Gasps erupt in the courtroom. Christine's eyes widen. Robin's hand flies to her mouth. Janelle whispers, "No, this can't be real," and Mary presses her palms together, trying to steady herself. Kody feels the weight of the betrayal strike him like a blow. The tension in the room is palpable, almost unbearable. The gallery audience leans forward, quiet but present, sensing the magnitude of the unfolding drama. The camera lingers on the faces of this family, capturing every flicker of emotion: anger, shock, guilt, and fear. Kody's world tilts, unsure which way it will fall. Then comes the unexpected twist. One of the wives, previously quiet throughout much of the proceedings, suddenly stands. Her voice shakes as she delivers a confession that turns the courtroom upside down. I have held back truths because I was afraid of losing everything. But I see now that hiding them only made the pain worse. Her revelation sends shockwaves through the room. Christine flinches. Robin's expression falters. Janelle's hands tremble, and Mary's eyes widen in disbelief. Kody leans forward, heart pounding, realizing that this confession changes everything he thought he knew about the family dynamics. The courtroom falls silent. Even the judge leans forward, keenly aware that the next few moments will define the outcome of this case. The evidence is overwhelming, the confessions unfiltered, and the emotions raw. Kody sits frozen, absorbing every detail. The wives' faces reflect a mixture of vulnerability and defiance. Christine bites her lip. Robin swallows hard. Janelle wipes a tear, and Mary's hands tremble as she clasps them together. The judge calls for a short recess, signaling that the next steps will require careful consideration. The family shuffles out, whispers and soft sobs filling the courtroom. Kody steps into the hallway, breathing heavily, feeling the weight of every revelation pressing down on him. He knows that when the court reconvenes, the final decisions will be made, and nothing will ever be the same. The camera lingers outside on the family, tense, emotional, and uncertain. Each member processes the confessions and betrayals a bit differently. Christine battles her anger and regret. Robin struggles with guilt and fear. Janelle calculates what's next. Mary searches for clarity amidst the chaos. The storm that began months ago, with whispers and furtive choices, has reached its crescendo.